NeilMcCoyWard, thank you again for this fantastic opportunity to have a walk and talk in Southeast Asia here in Bangkok.
Yeah, you're most welcome. Good to speak with you all again. It's been about a year since I came on the channel, and looking forward to it as well. Happy to help in whatever way I can.
Well, you've made some predictions in the last year here that have come to be right and ripe for discussing.
Yeah.
And let's immediately talk about silver.
Silver, yeah, okay. Good topic. So, yeah, I think the main thing then over the last year was that...
We've got some people listening in on our conversation.
It's like, what is that? It's a bird. So over the last year then, the forecast around silver, I think I sort of said that at the $30 price point, it would double. So I saw $60 by the end of 2025. Well, I wasn't quite expecting it to more than double. It went from $30 to, we saw a peak of about $95 as of today is the peak. Now we're seeing sort of support around the $90 range at the moment. So I'm expecting it to consolidate there before moving on. And I do expect it to move on, even though we were just talking and laughing. The criticism I got called all sorts of stuff. You know, this guy's crazy, you know, for predicting $100 silver price and everything. But if you think about that prediction back in 2020 that I made and said silver was going to double, and I explained that the mines had all closed as a result of the COVID lockdowns. And because the mines were closed, there was no supply.
Right.
And therefore, industry relies on a constant monthly supply. It's not as if they have this huge store because silver's expensive. So they're constantly rotating. And it was only a matter of time with the mines closed for 4 months. Silver prices therefore had to double within 4 to 5 months. So that was the 2020 prediction. And again, the 2025 prediction that was accurate was really as a case of, I was reading the World Silver Institute report. And I was just going through it, just reading through it. And as I was reading through it, I saw something. I saw a line that showed the reserves. And it showed a bar chart of it going down and down and down. And then it showed the above ground levels, and it showed what was being mined. And I said, hold on, wait a second. With all the options with the banks and with everything going on and the new demand on silver, we're going to see a short squeeze. And this is going to double the price by the end of 2025. Well, what I didn't account for was the options and everything that happened with the banks. I mean, the banks are getting hit real hard. In fact, if you look at what's happened in the last month to the US banks, not many people are talking about this, but the Federal Reserve went from quantitative tightening to now quantitative easing. They're not calling it that because it's politically toxic to say, but they did that and they printed, I mean, it was billions. It was a huge, huge number of billions of dollars, which they then gave to the emergency lending facility of the banks. Why? It's because they're not saying they're having a cash crisis as a result of the silver options, which they've been manipulating. So I do see higher silver prices.
Let's discuss that. You know, I'm going to bring in my expertise in the option and derivatives market. You know, this is a 700 trillion plus market. And this is where our worlds collide. Where we may have been talking about derivatives, he may be talking about silver, and now our worlds have collided because the physical silver is in short supply right now. Now, the actual option market, just to let the viewers try to get their head around what I'm talking about, is insurance companies insure cars. They insure stock portfolios. They insure gold reserves. They insure oil and gas. You've always heard that word, futures and options and derivatives. Well, what's happened is what happened in the housing market, where in 2008, we had these fancy words like credit default swaps. And the next thing you know, the entire housing industry's in shambles. Well, there's a lot of contracts written out there, and a lot of banks, a lot of governments are saying, you know what? Silver's pretty popular and we want to physically hold it. And the problem is those boys that have pre-sold it, In the financial banking industry, the derivatives traders, well, they're short. As Neil said, they are short big time, to the point on, what are we hearing rumors of, Neil? Of some major institutions maybe in a little bit of trouble?
Yeah, big time. Well, let me, as well, I know you haven't asked me this question, but let me tell you another one that I'm watching at the moment, and I've been talking about not just this year, but last year, and that's copper.
Copper.
Yeah, so you're actually seeing now, as crazy as this sounds, you're actually seeing people stacking 10 kilo bars of copper. You see
a lot of theft in copper too.
Yeah, there is. So I think copper might be another big commodity play coming up. So that's another one to watch.
Have we seen a big rise in copper price, or?
Yeah, we have in the last year. We've seen it's been very volatile because, again, the banks are trading it. But yeah, I think there's going to be some movement in copper because, see, a lot of people don't understand when it comes to manufacturing silver. So when you look at gold and silver, right?
Okay.
Gold is a monetary metal. It's what the central banks are holding. It's obvious where this is going. The fiat currency is going to die. This is not people call me a conspiracy theorist or something when I say that, but I'm a mathematician, an economist. It is a mathematical certainty that the fiat currencies that exist today will die. And when they begin to die, you will see an accumulation towards the US dollar. We've already seen this with a number of countries that have had their hyperinflation. They now use the dollar. Again, check this. Feel free to do a search on this.
Argentina's doing it right now. I was just down there.
Argentina, Zimbabwe. There's a lot of countries now using the US dollar. So what's going to happen is, some of these fiats will fail. They'll move on to the dollar. But when the dollar fails, and I think it's being set up for that now, and what I think will happen is, whether you like President Trump, whether you don't like President Trump, I'm not here to debate that. But what I think he's probably doing right now is an accumulation of real assets. So that's gold, it's silver, it's
platinum's in there as well.
Yeah, it's solid assets. But then you've also got the intangibles. So this will be your Bitcoin, Ethereum, I think probably Solana, XRP. There's a few others that are going to be in there, your cryptocurrencies. And then I think there's some other assets that we don't quite know what they are right now, but I think they're physical, I think they're tangible. And what I think is most likely to occur is that when the US dollar does fail eventually, they'll have to switch on to a different system. So that could be a digital dollar, a central bank digital currency, even though Trump said, no, we're not going to do that. We're never going to do that. And, freedom and everything else. But I think they will have to do it, because if they go on to a standard fiat again, when the rest of the world, China, will be on a digital currency that's gold backed and other asset backed.
There's going to be a lot of people afraid of this. And once again, there's going to be a lot of people that don't understand this.
Yeah.
Now, this is where, our worlds collide a bit.
Yeah.
I teach derivative trading. I have a platform called The Art of the Trade. Okay. You have courses that people can instantly sign up and educate themselves about what's going on, right?
Yeah. I mean, the courses that I offer are pretty much, they're designed for anyone, beginners right through to expert level. I mean, there's even traders, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, they use my stock market course, for example. People use my gold and silver courses.
Doing really well with that.
Yeah, I mean, they've gone crazy. But yeah, it's really about, and I'd say to everyone watching, it's really about education. You've got to educate yourself on finance and economics, in what's coming. If you don't understand macroeconomics, get educated. If you don't understand how the stock market works, get educated. Housing, real estate, gold and silver, but also cash flow. My background, Alex, was I grew up no money at all. I was the kid in school that everyone laughed at. And it's kind of funny because, in a way, those kids did me a favor. When I went into school and I had my shoes that didn't fit and my trousers that were too short, they were hand-me-downs. They did me a big favor when they would laugh at me and bully me, because as a child, I kind of said in my mind, you know what? when I'm when I'm an adult, I'm going to show you, this sort of 6-7-year-old kid sort of makes that psychological decision, And one of the best decisions I ever made was learning finance and economics. There wasn't many courses around back then, so I had to teach myself. I had to learn everything myself, and that's why I created courses for other people, because I'm not, I didn't start rich and then go, hey, I'm rich and here's how you do it. I started with no money, so teach people. But cash flow is one of the most important things.
Right.
If you don't have cash flow, like you rely on one job,
right.
You're only,
you're in that lane, you're stuck in that lane.
Yeah. So I think it's important to have multiple streams of income, even if they're not big incomes, they're just small. Just make sure you got some diversification, because even if you don't need that extra income, you can use it for investing, and then you can retire earlier. I mean, there's a lot of.
I agree with you. I at a young age I was educated, and I became a trader in the financial markets, and then I became I would form companies that would list on the markets and go public. And it wasn't until actually last year where I met you, when you were talking about, how many of these people are now finally getting control of their future.
Yeah.
Is where I stepped back into the arena and said, okay, I'm not a guy that knows how to write these courses, but I'm a guy that can educate people on more of a one-on-one personal basis, where they might not be able to retain all this information. They might say, hey, you know what, Alex, give me an hour of your time and tell me how to do this. And I have to tell you, Neil, big thanks to you and to some of the clients that have now signed up on my live one-on-one.
Yeah.
Their lives have changed.
Yeah.
Quickly too.
Yeah.
Not over a 10-year period, but over a 6-month period.
Yeah.
And they are starting to see something in the banking business where the banks say, why are you trading this product?
Yeah.
Who taught you how to trade this product? We don't necessarily want you as a client at our bank trading this product. Go somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So in the big thing, in the big world, now that we've got through a solution for some of these people watching, how is this going to play out? Because silver approaching $100, gold blasting its way to 5,000.
Yeah.
This trade, as I always call it, it's got to come out somewhere, and there's going to be casualties.
Okay, I just want to clarify one point as well around this. So people keep talking about the rise of gold and silver, and they say, it's exploding up in price and everything else. What you've kind of got to understand is that gold and silver, yes, it's going up in price, but you got to look at what Warren Buffett always talks about, and that's value versus price. Okay. So what we're actually seeing is, if you correlate on a chart the gold price, the silver price against the US dollar and other fiat currencies, what you're actually seeing is a devaluation of fiat currency.
Right.
So that's the key distinction everyone's got to understand. You're not buying gold and silver as an investment because it's going to explode up and make you rich. You're buying it to protect what you already have, to stop it from being deflated away. You mentioned Argentina.
Yes.
Perfect example. I don't know if you're aware of this, but Argentina used to be one of the wealthiest countries
in the world.
Per GDP capita. Those citizens were wealthy beyond belief. Now, there's a lot of poverty there, let's just say that. And you look at, because I'm a historian. I love history, economic history. And I remember reading the account. Did you ever watch my Great Depression Diary series, by the way?
I've heard of this. Yeah, continue on.
It went absolutely viral. And that's what got me put on to reading personal diaries, because, especially the Western media, they make up a lot of nonsense. And that's why I always say to everybody, if you're fed up of all the lies of the Western media, then subscribe to my channel, because I don't take all that nonsense. I just break it down and tell the truth, no matter how it reflects upon me.